Hello, Steve. Hello, Jill. It's time to game classy.
Oh, it's lava.
You know.
Do it for the gold.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finished my Magmadoth.
I'm painting Nurgleman.
You are painting Nurgleman. We're recording. Once again, we're recording at night. This is the second cast in a row recording in the evening hours. Game classy after dark. Steve. I thought you were going to start playing some, like... You're playing some sexy sax. I thought you were going to be playing some, like... Some, like, 1960s, like, Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass, like, sexy midnight Playboy party music.
No. Yeah. Not quite. I don't think we're there. I think we're past that. I think we need to be a little younger to hit that.
Yeah, I mean, hey there, I'm your host, Joe, and with me is always my co-host, Steve, and today we're interviewing AFL-CIO Chairman George Meany.
We're just not that hip.
We're just going to get right on with it. George, is there a labor crisis in America?
Well, I was speaking to Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia?
Yes, Robert Loggia.
Was he even around in the 1960s?
He actually just is Robert Loggia.
He's dead.
All of our celebrity guests are Robert Loggia.
And they're all dead.
Indeed.
Oh, good God. So before we get into the gaming stuff, I got something to get off my chest, and I currently...
Is it a big turd?
It is a big turd. I had a Cleveland steamer earlier. See, this is why it's after dark. Got to keep up with these adult references on the podcast. No, I went to the Jurassic World exhibit over at the Field Museum.
That sounds fun.
Have you seen this?
I have not.
Well, it's a big waste of money, first of all, because it's like you see 5 dinosaurs. They're very nice animatronic dinosaurs. Like right now over at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, you can
aren't there
see
like a shit ton at Brookfield?
Yeah, there's this whole thing, but the one in Brookfield is like really sad because it's obviously some company that just bought a bunch of animatronic dinosaurs from something and they set them up like around the world, like around the United States, and they're really bad. Yeah. And it kind of bothers me too because
so it's for children.
Yes. Well, what bothers me too is that they have they call it dinosaurs and dragons, right? And so
Are there dragons?
Yes, they have big statues of dragons. So wyverns and
I mean, that's pretty cool.
But the problem is that they're presenting them right next to dinosaurs, so some toothless redneck is going to be like, huh, who knew that a wyvern actually coexisted with this pterodon?
Well, I'm going to take this moment to maybe make you a little upset.
What's that?
But there are many people who 100% know that dragons were real.
No. Oh.
So.
Well, yeah, and I think the problem is that those people should eventually die out, and places like the Brookfield Zoo should be promoting good science.
However, by going by all evidence presented of reality,
I know,
you are in the wrong, sir. As a matter of fact, you will soon be outnumbered by the people who know dragons did exist.
Yes, dragons.
Especially in the U.S. It's happening faster than anywhere else.
It's true. Our president proves it.
That's right. He's the best president.
He is the best.
The most luxurious president.
The best dragons.
That's right. You have the best dragons. The biggest, the most fiery, furious dragons ever.
Yeah. I mean, not like those North Korean dragons.
They don't even have dragons.
No, they don't. They have a unicorn.
They have ragons.
Because didn't a unicorn give birth to Kim Il-sung's father or something?
I don't fucking know. I don't know the mythology of their dear leader. I only know the mythology of our dear leader.
Oh, okay. No, it's like the whatever his name was. That's like Kim Il whatever.
He's a self-made man. He came up from nothing, pulled himself up by his bootstraps, and now he's a billionaire president.
Yeah, with only a small loan of $1 million.
Yeah, that didn't happen. He just found it.
He found it on the street.
He found it. He earned it. He earned that money.
Yes. No, I think it was he was born in a cave in Korea, and there was a unicorn there or something or other, something ridiculous. I mean, we all go through the facts 5-6 years ago when the one guy died who was like, yeah, he never poops, and he
never poops was my favorite. That's such a weird and odd sentiment. That is such an if you're gonna build a mythology for your dear leader, why is the never poops a thing? That seems I don't get it.
That's what it goes.
It should be if I was going to build mythology for myself, I'd be angels ferry my shit to heaven. Like I poop into their hands and then they flutter off into heaven.
Well, that's probably actually what the literal translation of the Korean documents for it are, but because translation errors, he doesn't poop.
He doesn't poop. That checks out.
Yeah,
especially if they use Google Translate. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't know that crazy moon language that the Koreans got. But yeah, they did that. But when they say it doesn't poop, that like gets to the level of like, okay, let's go. 18 holes, 18 perfect holes at once. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah,
you'll
that's
suspend the disbelief for that.
It's like Paul Bunyan. It's like Paul Bunyan cut down 30 trees with one axe swing. It's fine. It's American, whatever. And then like what creates like he doesn't poop. Like no. Everybody poops.
Paul Bunyan poops.
I read that book. Everybody poops.
Baby Blue Ox poops.
Yeah.
There's no giant Mrs. Bunyan, so you know what that means.
What's that?
Paul Bunyan fucks that ox.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it.
Totally fucks that ox.
That really saddened me when I found out that
he fucks the ox.
Well, no, that was more believable. No, it saddened me when I found out that Paul Bunyan wasn't actually a myth. Like Paul Bunyan is corporate.
He's like a tourist thing.
Yeah, he's not a tourist thing, but he was like written up for some logging company.
Yeah.
Like they made him all these stories up. Well, they compiled a lot of the stories.
Also, so they can have Paul Bunyan's flapjack house,
which is delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
They will give you as many flapjacks as you can handle,
and all the donuts, those little sugar powdery donuts. Those are delicious.
You'll never be able to get to the actual breakfast because you'll be full up on pancakes and donuts.
Best thing about Wisconsin.
Debatable, but I'd say close. It's definitely in contention.
What else is better in Wisconsin?
Big Chief Go-Kart World.
I've never been to Big Chief Go-Kart.
Big Chief Go-Kart World is really sweet.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming because it A, has a racist mascot, and B, is go-karts.
It's true. Interestingly enough, there's no Native American theming in Big Chief Go-Kart World whatsoever. It's all Greek. Like the roller coasters are like Zeus, and they have like the Hercules, and there's like there's one I think. Yeah, they have Medusa and then the Hydra. Not a single Native American reference in the entire area, but it is called Big Chief Go-Kart World.
Well, I mean, that's better than like Injun Joe's.
But it's just odd.
Indian Giver roller coaster.
It's still odd because there's nothing anywhere at any point ever made me believe that it had anything to do with like anything related to Americans.
It was probably like somewhere in the 1980s was bought out by a guy named like Aristotle Papadopoulos, and he was like, no, all of these is Greek now.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying with Jurassic World, very nice, very short. They only have like 5 dinosaurs in there.
Do they at least play the song?
Yeah. Well, when you walk in through the gates, but the problem is like the gates say Jurassic World, and I'm like, no. Oh. No, this should say Jurassic Park.
Well, they only need to say Jurassic Park if you have the old man. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That's
a great ride.
But I had one of those because probably our listeners may or may not be aware of the infamous Google memo that went out this week. Did you hear about the Google memo?
Yeah, the guy who was like on tilt about women who exist in the world.
Well, yeah. The thing is like his letter made some sense, but this is the thing. Is like everyone's always talking about STEM degrees. STEM degrees are so important to have. You know what? This is why you need an English major, so you know how to write, where you don't sound like a fucking asshole, right-wing, super red pill asshole.
I don't know. From what I read, it just seemed like everyone involved was wrong.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, this is why you need a humanities degree. But anyway, I had a moment like that when I was in the Jurassic Park ride, or the walkthrough thing. Because they shuffle you into this room and you're on this boat, and they have like Jurassic Park's lead ranger come in, and it's a very cute 21, 22-year-old woman saying like, "I'm Jurassic World's lead ranger," and I went, "There's no way to hell she's Jurassic World's lead ranger," and I'm sitting there next to my daughter at the same time, going like, "I shouldn't be having these thoughts." This is what's wrong with America nowadays.
She's too young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. It's like, no, you need like Robert Muldoon up there. They're like. Right.
Or Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall or Laura Dern.
I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe anyone who's young in any position of authority, regardless of gender.
Okay.
It's just like you're not a head scientist. Get the fuck out of here, kid.
This is why you're more progressive than I am, because like my head, it's like, it's like I have to stop and like choke myself and be like, no, Joe, no, don't think like this.
It's actually not necessarily progressive. It's just my absolute disdain for humanity.
That's true.
And that's really something I was thinking about the other day, because I was like, I see a lot of like super turbo liberal views and like super turbo conservative views, and I hate them all. Like they just all infuriate me. And for things like this diversity memo, all of these things are built on a predilection or belief that people are better or worse at certain things, but the actual cold truth is most people are equally as good at things, which is pretty shitty.
Yeah,
like
which
overall.
they're all just shitty.
People are generally
Yeah.
shitty, and they're completely interchangeable. So, yes, when an affirmative action program hires some dude who's like from Guam or whatever, because they're like, we need a brown man to meet our quota to get our tax bonus, and some guy is overlooked, and he's like, oh, that guy got the job because he was brown. Yeah, maybe he kind of did. But you didn't get the job because you were not white, and it has nothing to do with qualifications, because qualifications don't fucking matter. Because if the job is pushing a red button, anyone can push the red button. You just need a finger, and if you don't have a finger, you could use a dialing wand. So and that's the thing. Like all these people having these arguments about like, oh, racism, blah blah blah. And it's like, and at the end of the day, none of it fucking matters because you all could do it. All of you could do it. Every one of you could do a fucking toilet main job because all you got to do is put the fucking screws where they're supposed to be. Like,
however, Steve,
anyone can do it.
Could you be the lead ranger at Jurassic World?
Yes, I could.
I don't see.
I need a longer beard, but yes.
Well, Muldoon didn't have a long beard. No, you need shorter shorts to be the lead ranger.
That's true. My shorts go over my knees, so that's not gonna... You know what I could do? I could roll my shorts up. That would be ideal.
You know what? Speaking of Laura Dern, we mentioned her. I was you haven't been watching Twin Peaks. You're gonna binge it at the end, probably, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I'm gonna watch the last season of the show on Netflix, and then I'm gonna smash through the new.
You should just watch the first season because it's only like 6 episodes, so that way you can make sure you get through the whole thing. The first season is literally only, I think, 8 episodes.
What, on Showtime?
Yeah, no, the first season of Twin Peaks.
Oh no, I've already watched that. I'm going to watch the last 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So I'll be running right into thing.
Yeah.
Although I haven't seen the movie Fire Walk with Me, I've heard it's not really relevant.
Actually, it is a little bit.
Okay.
It's been getting more and more relevant. More and more relevant.
So then I'll have to watch that after
I think
ending.
watching Fire Walk with Me is all you. Maybe the last episode of Twin Peaks and
then
Fire Walk with Me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you could.
I just want
a
little refresher.
But anyway, Laura Dern's on there, and I was texting Kevin, who the guy I do Comic Book Logic with, and we were talking back and forth, and he goes, "How big do you think Laura Dern's feet are?" I said, wait a second. And all I had to do was type in Laura Dern feet size, and it popped up immediately.
How big? Does she have huge? Does she have huge feet?
Well, it says she has a 9.5.
That's not that big.
No,
that's like a regular kind of size foot.
She's a liar. She definitely wears a woman's 11.
That's still not gigantic either.
That's about my foot size.
You know who has gigantic feet? Uma Thurman.
Yeah, she has very large.
She has huge feet.
Yeah, but that's the thing that I love about I don't get it. I'm not a foot fetishist. But man, they are the most organized sexual fetish on the internet.
Oh yeah, they've got that shit catalog.
They got that catalog. They got it down pat. You can
in the Rolodex.
It is insane. There's no other.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. You just hear. He's just rifling through.
There is not a single sexual fetish on the internet. I would put money that there's no one more organized than foot fetishists on the internet.
Probably not. I think it's because it's something that's so easy to catalog.
It's numerical.
Yeah,
and it's that's
and you can assess value based on your personal desires for feet. So if you're someone who's into tiny feet, you could be like, if it's over a 7, we're done.
Princess tiny feet.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna take my medicine, my no molestol. Ooh, Princess tiny feet. You make me feel so good. But Princess tiny feet left me.
But if you that's the thing though is and there's other things too on you go to those foot sites, they have rating systems on feet. So depending on certain people have higher
rating site for shit.
That's true. There is a rating site for poop.
There is. And
I believe it's called ratemypoo.com.
It is. It's based off the same system as Cool Mini or Not. There you go, people.
And Hot or Not.
Yeah. Well,
stuff.
how did Cool Mini or Not get away with that in that age that they didn't get sued by Hot or Not?
Probably because I don't think it's close enough. I think saying something or not is not close. If they said Hot Mini or Not, then maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
But because they went cool, which is the opposite of hot,
yes,
they had no legs to stand on in that case.
Legalese is a weird thing.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, you're not going to be able to get any money from Games Workshop by suing them for $62 million.
God, that's what
that dude's deranged.
Okay.
He was caught counterfeiting models and a bunch of other shit. He's actually deranged.
He's from Florida too, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he's from Florida.
Florida, America's wang.
Hey, you know what? Having been in Florida for longer than a few days, I can tell you it's the heat. It's the humidity.
Yeah, it drives you crazy.
Just fucking.
That's why
cooks them.
Yeah. I mean,
I was in Disney and I had a good time. I had a good time. Minus one day was unbearable, but overall I had a pretty good time.
Yeah, but Disney does everything possible to make sure that your time there is excellent.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
but that's that's exactly the segue because it's I can't imagine being here like as like a day-to-day citizen. Good God.
No. If a day-to-day citizen, I'd have to live in like the Cuban quarter of Miami, where you're just wearing like those Hawaiian shirts and like cabana shorts
And just a Speedo.
Yeah, well, like a Speedo and maybe like a straw hat, just sitting out there drinking a mojito
And drinking and eating Cubanos.
Yeah, and just going, it is hot out today.
Just grease all over
Yeah.
you.
When is my speedboat full of drugs coming in?
Man, I wish I had a speedboat full of drugs. That'd be sick.
But yeah, so I guess that's the big news. Good transition is that a man from Florida is suing Games Workshop for $62.5 million. This obviously is a slow gaming news week because this got people's attention.
Everywhere.
It was. Well,
It's because people immediately saw someone suing Games Workshop, so they were like, oh, he has grounds. He's going to do damage to Workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Well, yeah. Because he's suing, like, if you look at, like, he's suing them for, like, there's criminal charges that he once brought against, including RICO charges, which we all know from the Batman The Dark Knight, or just The Dark Knight, that a RICO charge, you can just say, RICO, and everyone gets arrested. So he's going to plan on arresting all of Games Workshop.
That's right.
Because he thinks that
they're racketeering, and they're money laundering.
It's just like a long list of complaints.
They're selling toys, sir.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna.
Like
you're not
their
really
markup is an unbelievable 2,000%. Yeah, we all kind of know.
Like, why don't you see what Diamond's markup is, good sir?
Well, it's not even that, but it's like look at all the other intellectual things that go into designing a model, packaging a model, marketing a, not that they do that much marketing, but still marketing a model.
It doesn't even matter if the markup is reasonable. It's not it's a luxury item.
Yeah.
It's not a good commodity that you need to live. Like no one's going to die without Space Marines. And in America, they can charge you too much for things that you will die without.
Yeah.
So you think you're going to get away with fucking getting someone to budge on toys?
You need an EpiPen?
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you about this, sir.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is a toy. It will not kill you if you don't have it. My markup is 5,000%. This is life-saving medicine. You will die if you don't have it. My markup is 50,000%.
And that guy went to jail not because he was upcharging on EpiPen or medicine, but because
he defrauded rich people. That's right. Don't take rich people's money.
Oh.
Fucking the poor is okay. Don't take rich people's money.
Yes,
those are the rules.
Yes. So this guy is. It will be hilarious to follow this. I'm going to follow this with bated breath. I'm going to create a Pinterest page just for this guy's lawsuit, so I can follow it.
Hell yeah. Do a Twitter.
Do a Twitter.
Do a Twitter. Do a Games Workshop lawsuit Twitter.
Games.
just tweet out random updates that you've made up about the Games Workshop lawsuit. Like breaking. Tom Kirby found with 3 hookers in garage.
Not linked to lawsuit.
Yes. Just throw out like random bullshit updates about the lawsuit that have nothing to do with the lawsuit. You ever seen the movie Primer?
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's all right.
It's weird.
It takes itself way too seriously.
That's true.
Yeah,
but it was all right.
It's all right. Yeah, it's one of my things with time travel movies where I'm like, they got this wrong. They got
no way.
Never mind.
They covered all the paradoxes in that one. They covered them. They covered them. They covered their asses with the way they do time travel in that movie. They covered their possible paradoxes because they don't outright explain everything, but when you go and look and see it, it's like, oh, okay, because like a lot of the originals are deleted.
I'm just going to, I'm just going to say like I had issues with it. It's actually not a bad movie. It's actually a very good movie, but
I liked it.
Yeah.
I also believe that the odds of having like, so if you go the full time paradox thing, just on causality, the farther away you get from something is the more likely you're going to have a huge impact.
Yeah.
And they're only traveling within the span of like a couple days. I remember the highest travel in the movie, I think, is 3 days. There's no way you're going to create any sort of reality warping paradox within 3 days. That's just not possible.
Well, no. Do you remember it's old book?
Even then, it's 3 days.
Old book called Barry Ween, Boy Genius?
No.
You don't remember this?
Oh, wait, yes, Barry Ween. It was a webcomic, right?
Yeah. It was I don't know if it was a webcomic, but I know they collected them into trades, which is where I heard it. He had a great thing where he talked about time paradoxes. He and his buddy traveled to the Old West, and Barry Ween pulls out this gun, and his buddy's like, dude, aren't you afraid that if you kill this people that it's going to cause some like giant paradox?
Because it can't happen, so it doesn't matter.
Well, he goes, look, a lot of people really overvalue their existing, overvalue how important they are in society. I could kill this entire town and it wouldn't make a lick of difference.
Right, exactly. And there's also the other factor of, like, you can go by the other, if you're in the past, if you're somehow able to travel to the past, there's the belief that no matter what you do is already accounted for, so you can't actually change anything because it's already happened the way you go back in time and you assassinate, like, Bill Jablonski, because Bill Jablonski was the actual, like, the linchpin to this, to that, to that, to that. And it doesn't matter because in the future you lived in already, Bill Jablonski was already dead because you killed him. Like, that already happened. The future has accounted for everything.
The future has accounted for everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, but you could go to the future and do shit.
Yeah. This is why time travel bugs me. I just, like, have to sit back and enjoy it.
It's completely fictional.
Yeah.
It's a completely fictional concept. There's no way, like... There's just no way. Like, the only thing you could...
Steve, we are all traveling through time.
Yeah,
1 second at a time.
Time and space, whatever. I mean, there's the guy who did literally travel in time by going in space. I think he accelerated, like, 4 seconds, I think. So, there you go. We have invented time travel, people. You can go 4 seconds into the future. Doc, we gotta get up to 88 miles an hour. Marty, we're gonna be dead before we get there.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about some.
My fucking Doc sounded like a drunk old man, a fat drunk old man.
Marty,
John Goodman.
No, it's like you're trying to do Rick.
Well, I mean that Rick and Morty was
yeah.
a Back to the Future parody. So
I don't know, Steve. We're gonna go back. Anyway, I wanted to bring up some Kickstarter stuff. Star Realms: The Frontiers. Going to be ending very, very soon. Actually, probably before this podcast goes up.
It'd be cool if a game that was, like, successful and long-standing as Star Realms just actually funded their own games instead of just continually going back to that fucking well of Kickstarter.
This is another one that's going to end before we go up. I feel bad that I don't talk about it. Redbox Games put up another Kickstarter for Warbands of the Cold North 5, which is all, like, dwarf stuff. And Redbox Games just is so good.
Yeah, they are.
It's like what the Lord of the Rings line for Games Workshop should have been, I guess. Like, if they had that level of sculpting on them.
Yeah, but I mean, they're a lot newer than Lord of the Rings models.
It's true.
The new Forge World Lord of the Rings models are fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these are comparable and cheaper than the Forge World ones. And I wanted to talk about the probably the worst Kickstarter I have ever seen from Cool Mini or Not, which is the A Song of Ice and Fire mini game. Now, Steve said it was dead on arrival already before that game even debuted.
Said it would be DOA.
Yeah, no one's going to be playing it by the time that the game actually hits the stores. Everybody who wants it's going to have it from the Kickstarter anyway.
Those haven't been in there long enough.
I'm just testing something.
And it's going to what was it? Oh yeah, the game. No one's gonna be playing it. It's a miniatures game, so they're gonna be selling box units of it, and like when all the expansions are coming out, no one's gonna buy them because no one's gonna be playing the game. It's a vicious cycle because the box units won't be available at release. People are going to want the box units. Stores are not going to carry it because they're not going to be able to sell the core game. So it's going to be a whole major mess and whatever. But the game has yet to break. It's got 6 days left. It has yet to break 1 million. It's close. This might be one of the lowest performing Cool Mini or Not Kickstarters in a long time.
I think Chaos Ball was pretty bad.
Well, it's a sports ball game.
It was like a shitty looking one too.
Yeah, and but the other thing on top of it is it's not licensed. This is licensed. So this is a licensed game with minis sculpted by a third party, by a third party. So it's a third party game with a third party sculptor working on it as well. It's not even going to break 1 million. The stretch goals are terrible. Like for 150 bones, I was expecting this game to really up the ante. For $150 on.
I mean, for example, Rising Sun closed with 4.2 million.
Yeah.
Well, this one hasn't even broken 1 million yet.
Yeah. And Rising Sun also had a shit ton of miniatures with it. And they weren't like really unique. Like a lot of them were, multiple copies of the same sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't even give you that. For 125 million, the Zombicide Black Plague or Green Tide just closed. And what did that close at? Like $10 million? Some ridiculous.
It was a lot. Let me see if I can take a look at the ones they've created here. I think I'll have all the record. Okay, so here are all of the. We can actually hit up all of their Kickstarters. They have 26 Kickstarters.
Well, let's just go through the last couple because
So Song of Ice and Fire is currently at
I think it was
963,000.
900. I was like a 9.3 last time I checked, which was yesterday, I think. And let's be fair. Most Kickstarter business is either done at the very beginning of a Kickstarter or the very end of a Kickstarter. However, I don't think this one is going to break 2. Yep. This one will break 1 for sure, but I don't think it'll break 2.
Zombicide Green Horde.
Green Horde,
which was their last one.
That's the one I pledged on.
5 million.
5 million, which is pretty. I think was their highest one previous.
And then you have. Let's see. The one before that was, I believe that was Rising Sun. Yep, that was Rising Sun before that, which is 4.6 million.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's a shitty sounding one. The World of Smog: Rise of Moloch.
That's also a third-party one. That's not a cool mini original.
Random bullshit steampunk game.
Yeah, the miniatures I think are 54. They're big.
1.174 million.
Yeah.
So still very successful. Massive Darkness, which I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Probably a card game, it sounds like.
They have so many fucking games, dude. It's impossible to keep track. And most cool mini games are shovelware. 3.5 million on Massive Darkness. So yeah, it's not even coming. Like those are the most recent ones. Like,
yeah,
it's nothing compared to those. Like I think Rum and Bones probably is going to beat it. And like Rum and Bones, come on.
A miniature MOBA game. What's the point of that?
With a pirate theme.
Yarr. Some of the minis are cool.
No. It looks like it beat Rum and Bones. Rum and Bones only made 917,000.
Oh.
So
was that second wave?
That's Second Tide.
Oh, Second
Tide. That's not the original Rum and Bones. So I'd have to like dig down to
why
find
would
the original
they? It's nautical. It's literally the second wave. Why don't they call it second wave? Wave is more nautical. I mean, Tide is fine, but I mean, like,
Second Tide is kind of the same thing. That's really nitpicky. It's very close to the same pun.
I don't know. I have a problem.
Very close to the same pun.
Okay, it's like the problem with now you see me and now you see me too, where it was not subtitled. Now you see me too. Now you don't.
Yes,
that bothered me so much.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that one for sure. Blood Rage also only made 905,000, and Blood Rage was fucking phenomenal game.
Here's another one. So you know that movie Sing that came out not too long ago with all the animals singing? Yeah. So my daughter really liked the soundtrack, and I was listening to it, and my wife had seen the movie with her, and as I'm listening to it, they do this whole medley where they have all these animals singing, updated songs.
Okay.
So then "Kissed by a Rose" comes on.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, "Kissed by a Rose."
Was it sung by a seal?
That was my question. And he goes, no, I think it was sung by a pig or a sheep. I was like, why would you not have it sung by a seal?
That's unacceptable.
That's comic gold right there. Like, that should be it.
Well, that's why Sing was a shitty movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, aside from that, it made a shit ton of money, more money than we'll ever have.
I mean, so did the Emoji Movie. Doesn't mean it's good.
I don't know, Steve. That's 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's still not 0. The world loves the Emoji Movie. But yeah, so there's a Song of Ice and Fire. It's just like a massive blunder on their part, and I can't figure out why they're holding back so much with, especially the stretch goals. Is it because they just don't have them ready, or is it because that they're losing money on this deal already and they know it's a sinking ship, so they're not even gonna bother funding it, like that sort of thing?
No, I think they just expected it to like fucking crush.
Yeah,
I think they fully expected it to just like smash without any effort, because they're like, it says Game of Thrones and it says miniatures, bam, people are gonna buy it.
Well, first of all, it doesn't say Game of Thrones, it says a Song of Ice and Fire.
That's actually kind of huge now that I think about it, because if it said Game of Thrones, like I do believe that I'm willing to bet that far more people than anyone expects does not know that a Song of Ice and Fire is a Game of Thrones.
It could very well be.
I bet that there's a lot of people who don't know that, because I actually encountered someone, because I was like, oh, we got the Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game, and they were like, what the fuck is a Song of Ice and Fire? And I was like, Game of Thrones? And they're like, oh, I know Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. And I'm like, yeah, it's called the Song of Ice and Fire. And he's like, I've never heard that.
People are fucking
literally
stupid.
But think about it. Have you ever seen a Song of Ice and Fire in any of the HBO related items or marketing?
No.
If you haven't specifically gone outside of the show to look at the books, you would have no idea that it's called A Song of Ice and Fire. There's nothing that tells you that.
Which is funny, because the actual show itself is called Game of Thrones, but the book is called A Game of Thrones.
Right.
So it's like, it's even more confusing.
Yeah, so there you go. So I'd be willing to bet that the visibility is not as high because it's not called Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And also, they're not going by...
I didn't even think of that until just now. I'm like, this is a revelation.
It's a revelation. the revelation of Saint Steve.
Well, perfect example, the Game of Thrones card games, like all of the Game of Thrones games, anything Game of Thrones branded will outsell if it's HBO related or says Game of Thrones on it. If it doesn't, like I just said with the RPG, if it says Song of Ice and Fire, it doesn't sell as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The quality of the game, not relevant.
Well, I mean, like, look at the difference between the Song of Ice and Fire game that Fantasy Flight does, the card game that they have, and then they also did a TV show version of the game, which I've been told sold infinitely better.
Oh, the HBO one?
Yeah.
Well, it used stills from the TV show.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. It's the same exact game, same exact cards, just stills from the TV show instead of hand-drawn art. You know, it's like it.
Yeah, I think if they actually went into this, if they could have worked it out where they did the second edition of the card game with all stills from the TV show instead of art, I think they would have had a real big.
Yeah, but the problem is like what they wanted to do with the card game and what they did do with the card game and what they did with the show is so completely different.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be viable. I mean, it could be. The Lord of the Rings card game from Decipher was fucking amazing, and that used all stills from just 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like, so content, not a problem.
Next thing I want to bring up that's not gaming related that you'll appreciate. So Screen Rant, Screen Rant website.
Vaguely, like
it's terrible.
I've heard of it. I think.
I mean, it used to be viable, but now it's just like clickbait for advertising. Mm-hmm. They used to actually have movie news. Now they just have like clickbait articles. They did one that said it was an opinion piece saying, "Can we all finally admit that the Star Wars prequels are better than The Hobbit?"
No,
and that's like it's like. No, but now the Star Wars fanboys, the prequel apologists who are having their resurgence now, they're just like Trump people. They're just the loudest.
it's really simple. You can just cut down any Star Wars fanboy with this. Tell me how many Best Director Oscars George Lucas has won.
Yeah,
Tell me how many, Joe. How many?
or writing. Didn't he win writing?
He didn't win shit. Lucas won fucking nothing.
No. I'm saying Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah, Peter Jackson's won 7 Academy Awards. Motherfucker's got drowning in him. George Lucas has got nothing. His special effects crew got a bunch. George Lucas has
Ben Burt.
dick. Yeah.
Sound designer Ben Burt.
Oh, that's good. And the Academy even recognized it when they gave Peter Jackson the Best Director's Oscar, something that your hero, George Toyboy Lucas, has never and will never win.
But anyway, yeah, they wrote this.
It's fucking true.
And so I said, I said, I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt. I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the Hobbit movies because I've seen the prequels enough to know that they're terrible. Those are just terrible movies. They're terribly directed, terribly written, terribly acted.
They actually get worse over time.
Yes.
But they're starting to become The Room for me.
Well, that's because the prequel apologists are getting to you. It's the same people that got
Oh,
Trump
no,
elected.
they're still fucking garbage.
No. They're getting to you.
How are they getting to me? The movie's garbage.
No,
I will tell them that the movie is shit.
Because even if it's shit, I refuse to watch them.
I don't own them. How would I watch them?
No, but I'm just saying you could.
Yeah, I don't watch them. I mean, I'm talking about my record, thinking I can fondly recall shitty parts of that movie and make fun of it in a pleasant manner. That's what I'm talking about.
Well,
the movie's garbage.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I believe you misunderstood me, sir. Because, I mean, there's things like sandwiches have bread, Anakin. The memes are great.
What's the one from the translation?
A Pop-Tart is also a sandwich.
from the translation?
Do not want?
Do not want.
Yeah, do not want.
That's old.
Yeah, that's super
old
old.
meme.
Do not want.
No.
That was the translation for just no. Do not want. Pop-Tarts are also a sandwich. that's one of my favorites.
But yeah, so I went back and I rewatched the Hobbit movies, all 3 of them.
They're great.
And I watched the extended editions. Those are far better than people give them credit for.
They are.
I think, like a lot of people, and I was reading up on some of the critics.
People just wanted to watch Lord of the Rings again, and they should have.
Well, I read the critics and what a lot of the critics were saying, especially fanboy critics, because those are the people that I was really interested in seeing the hate. Because actually, most critics, I think they're a little unfair to those movies, and at least in terms because they're bloated and blah blah blah. I'm like,
critics are unfair to any movie that isn't a fucking period piece with Leonardo DiCaprio fucking blowing some chimney sweep. Critics' opinions on almost everything are fucking worthless.
Well, you're wrong there, but
they're all about fucking critic bait. That's all they. That's all they
not.
are. Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
They're the worst.
No,
they have no value to society, and they should be rounded up and executed.
Nice. But anyway, so I read the Nerdboy fanboys, and a lot of what a lot of them were complaining about. These movies deviate so much from the Tolkien lore. I'm like, Did you watch Lord of the Rings? Those movies deviated really bad from the Tolkien
also,
lore.
they like forgot parts of the book where like the book is like no. Those critics.
Oh yeah,
where the books like
the nerd. These aren't real critics. These are fanboys.
Okay, so those nerd fanboys forgot things like, where in The Hobbit he's like, yeah, it pretty much happened this way, at least as much as he remembers it, etc., etc. And they do that several times because The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings are recounted stories. So Tolkien's idea always was that people would add on, embellish, and change.
And that's what I was going to get into in a little bit.
His mythos.
But that's what I was going to get into. How come, unlike because Lovecraft, people just took the Lovecraft mythos and just ran with it. The Cthulhu.
Oh, you want to know
mythos.
why they didn't do it with Tolkien?
Yeah. Why
Because
did they do
Lovecraft
it
is in the public domain. Tolkien's is not. Simple. It's a super simple, super fast answer. Tolkien's is not in the public domain. H.P. Lovecraft is.
Yeah, I would normally agree with you, but they can, like, people could have written in there, and like Christopher Tolkien could have done anthologies and stuff like that. They could have done it and made money off of it.
He could, but they're super protective
They
over
are
that IP.
super duper protective
So
of that IP. Because I was reading up on some of this stuff. I was like, he had a lot of unfinished stuff and like big gaps in the mythology of Lord of the Rings. Huge gaps.
Yeah, they don't want to let anyone else into that pie.
Yeah, they did not let anybody else into that pot,
It's simple as that.
which they can, because all you have to do is like saying like, I'm going to be doing an anthology of stories that take place in this universe. They should be written in, and they can be written in your style, but we're going to have some sort of creative control over like any sort of major changes to the mythos that you want to do or anything like that. It's done. It's been done before with other series and other things like that. But they just never did that.
Yeah, I mean, your options for that are going to be other media, like just not books. Like you have
thanks to Mickey Mouse, we're never going to have that book in the public domain.
That's true. You have Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
Shadow of Mordor. So
Shadow War. Shadow War's coming out.
Yeah, but it's not out yet. What is it? September? October?
Soon.
I think it's October.
You have those games. Those are those are adding to the mythos. The movies as well.
But
the movies the movies have legit made some like solid improvements on the story. Elrond giving Aragorn Elendil, Flame of the West, the way he did it in the fucking movie was way cooler than they did in the book. In the book, they're just like, yeah, here's your super sword, immediately, like, here you go.
and then they like in the movie, he's like, reforge the flame, and he like whips out the sword, and everyone's like,
yeah,
it's
that's
so
what he says.
good.
Elendil, Flame of the West, reforged from the shards of Nartsail, and it's
my favorite part of that scene is that the two guards who are sitting in Aragorn's tent have the largest helmets you've ever seen. Like there's these Rohan guys with these huge horse helmets,
sweet ass horse helmets.
And it's just like you're watching it.
Don't disrespect their sweet ass horse helmets.
And the second you realize that these two assholes are sitting there with these giant helmets on, and like they're just standing there, you're just like, what the hell's going on?
Those helmets are dank. How dare you?
They're ridiculously large.
Fucking awesome.
Wait, hold on a second. October 10th is the release date of Shadows of War. But yeah, that's like with all the stuff with Celebrimbor, that's all fucking fantastic.
I'm telling you, dude, it's public domain. It's because that's the reason so many people do so much Lovecraft shit, because it's a great setting. It's super diverse, and nobody has any legal rights to any of it. But that's the interesting thing, because now there's people who have like, you can't call your role playing game the Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah,
because Chaosium owns the role playing game license for the Call of Cthulhu, because they've copyrighted that, which is weird. But you could make a role-playing game called the Cthulhu Mythos.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't do anything about that.
There's a shit ton of them. Like
Yeah.
Cthulhu Tech and...
Cthulhu Tech, yep.
Yeah, Dark Age Cthulhu. Well,
Sure.
I actually think that's Chaosium. But, I mean, there's, like, a shit ton of Cthulhu games.
And there's like a Cthulhu...
And they're all terrible.
And there's a Cthulhu spin-off of fucking everything.
Yeah. However, Call of Cthulhu is a very good game.
Yeah,
I think
Call of Cthulhu is a sweet game.
It's a fantastic...
It's a good RPG.
Yeah. Especially if you want TPK. If you want to do TPK, Call of Cthulhu
If you want
is the game
to
for
do
you.
a fun TPK.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's
Not
very
rocks falling. It's more like...
it's a very fun TPK.
You've all lost your mind.
Yeah, like you just watched you've watched the music video for the song "Die" by Fantasy. Fantasy by Die.
I don't know that one.
It's good. It's good. It's DYE Fantasy. You should watch it. Don't watch it at work. You'll be fired.
There's on the new Twin Peaks, episode 8 is the most amazing thing ever put to cinema.
All right,
and
I'm
you will
down.
either love it or you will hate it.
I'll probably love it. I love David Lynch shit.
It's
So
David Lynch turned up the highest David Lynch level possible.
Oh my
It's like
God.
where you're sitting there going like, "There's no way possible we could get any more David Lynch than Mulholland Drive," and they're like, "No."
Mulholland Drive was only the beginning.
It's like the things are like glowing and radiating.
We've got to get these up to 88 Lynchians.
Steve, you're gonna love this episode.
David Lynch. I love that he yells. Like, he can't talk.
Gordon?
He can't speak. He just yells.
Steve, you're gonna love this episode. Yeah,
David Lynch is awesome.
he's fucking crazy.
He's a weird dude.
And
I
like-
met him. He's as weird as you think. Like, he's a
Oh, you
weird
met
guy.
him? When'd you meet him?
I met him at a film festival thing that my dad was at. Him,
Oh.
Emo Phillips, and I don't remember who the third guy was.
I would just be like, I would be like, David Lynch, do you want to ride a horse with me? Yes, I would like to ride a horse with you. And me and him riding on a horse together, like just like I don't care who's in front, who's in back, but I just want to ride a horse with David
Dude
Lynch.
was really, really looking for an eclair.
Does anybody have an eclair?
It was odd. It's just like he's like, they got donuts, they don't have eclairs.
I'll take a Boston cream if you have one. It's close enough.
Emo Phillips is pretty funny too.
Was he funny, Steve?
Yeah, he was a weird dude.
I bet he doesn't talk like this in real life.
He continued to talk like that the entirety he was speaking to anyone.
Well, I wonder if it's like if he does that character like Gilbert Godfrey, where he like
Yeah, I believe he does it just like what's his name, the guy Jim Carrey played in the Man in the Moon movie.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, where like he was always on.
Yeah.
Like I think they're like that too. They're method comedians. Like they're always like just on. Like that's their thing.
Emo Phillips. I never found his shit funny.
I the only thing I knew him from was UHF.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea who the guy was.
Where he does
Just like,
what does he cut off his finger? Or
yeah,
something
and he's like bleeding. He's like, you should probably go to the hospital. He's like, you should probably get to the hospital. He's spraying blood everywhere. It's fucking funny. I loved him in UHF. I had no idea. I've never seen anything. I still have never seen anything else he's ever done other than UHF. But you know what? His performance in UHF was fantastic, so I'll take it. just like fucking Kramer, Stanley Spadowski's clubhouse. That's why I'm up.
You found the marble in the pool full of oatmeal. You get to drink from the
Fire hose.
Everyone goes nuts.
But the fucking blast the kid.
Here's the thing.
That movie's so weird. I love
That
it.
movie predicted like 30 years ahead of time
What actually television would be?
No, what we'd want out of Adult Swim and what Adult Swim finally gave us.
Oh, sure.
Like that level of just non sequitur weirdness is what we wanted.
Did it? Was it what we wanted, or did it just correctly predict what people would want? Because UHF was a fucking bomb. It did terrible,
Yeah,
and it slowly got bigger and bigger.
But the reason why it was a bomb is that it opened up in the summer of 1989, which was the most jam-packed per dollar movie summer of all time. 1989, you had Batman, Lethal Weapon 2, Ghostbusters 2. Batman was just coming off. It was just coming off the bat. Like Batman opened up in December, I think, and it was still running.
I fucking love that movie.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, UHF, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It was just like these were Fatal Attraction came out that summer. These were movies that just like made.
So it's the Hollywood movie studio equivalent of 1995 for the Super Nintendo.
I will take your word for that.
Everything like almost universally when someone says like a game like from Super Nintendo, like, oh, I love that game. It came out in '95.
Pilot Wings didn't.
Nobody cares about Pilot Wings.
I love Pilot
You
Wings.
and Pat and your Pilot Wings obsession.
I actually finally got Pat a Super Scope.
Nice.
Out of all of his collection, I was at the Kane County Flea Market, which I love, but is also super racist and awful.
Perfect.
Yeah, but they had one of the guys there was selling in box a Super Scope, like in beautiful condition. It just didn't have one of the cords. And so I was like, Pat, you want this? And he's like, the guy wants $30 for it. And Pat was like, buy it. Well, the funny thing was that I texted Pat with pictures of the stuff because he also had an in-box Rob the Robot.
Oh, that's sweet.
But just Rob the Robot, not the actual Nintendo set that came with Rob the Robot. It was just Rob the Robot, which in box, which I think was probably a better find because you'd never see that.
Yeah,
and it had the original Woolworths receipt on it.
And some of that shit is going for like wild money. Like, did you see the sealed Super Mario Brothers went for like 30 grand?
Yeah, something stupid like that.
And there was no joke, nothing about that game other than the fact that it was a mint condition, new in box was special.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, a mint condition new in-box Super Mario Brothers, that's very unique because almost every copy of that game ever has been fucking opened and beat to shit. So that's impressive. But like that, I couldn't believe, like I figured like that's something where I'm like, maybe it'll be like $5,000, and I thought that was like being stupid. I thought like maybe it'll be $5,000 if that guy gets lucky. Turns out I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like, well, they wanted $350 for Rob the Robot, and Pat was, and I knew Pat wouldn't go for that. But I texted Pat, and I was like, I texted him the pictures, and then I called him, and then I texted his wife, and I said, make your idiot husband pick up his phone, please. So finally, like as soon as I texted her, he called me, and he's like, oh, I just, Michelle just told me. And I was like, do you want this? It's $30. He's like, yeah. So finally, it's like, I've been begging him to get a Super Scope because I want to get that set up so I can play with it.
Dude, you gotta play.
And I don't want to set it up at my house because I don't have a CRT TV.
Metal Combat. I think it's called Metal Combat.
I don't give a shit.
No.
I just want to play.
You gotta
Super
play
Scope.
Metal Combat.
I want to play with the damn laser gun bazooka.
You gotta play Metal Combat because Metal Combat, one of you can control. Like Metal Combat's a game where the person with the gun is playing as a mech pilot, or you're playing as a mech gunner. There's like a dude who's like flying the mech for you.
Yeah.
And you fight in first-person view against other enemy mechs. They like throw attacks at you and shit. But I know for a fact the second one, Something's Revenge, has this mode. I don't know if the first one does. It has a versus mode where one player uses the Super Nintendo controller and controls the robot on the screen and plays against the person using the Super Scope. It was like by far one of my fondest memories playing Super Nintendo ever was that at a party, just fucking passing around the Super Scope and the controller and people fucking squaring off because there was
Now,
different robots.
The
you could
Super
pick from.
Scope actually it has
It's
the
a
buttons.
giant bazooka.
It has but it has buttons on it, right?
Yeah, so it's a.
So you could speed run like Super Mario World with the Super Scope.
No, it just has one big button. So like
okay.
it has because the way it works is it's shaped like a bazooka. There's a button on the handle that's like
Yeah.
a trigger that's usually for like bombs or supers, and then there's a big giant button that you hit with your right hand. With your finger. There's one
Well, you
giant
can
button.
switch it because the scope goes both sides.
But there's no directions. Like there's
Yeah.
no directionals on it.
Yeah.
So you can't like
You can't speed run a game.
you can't do anything with it.
That sucks.
But you can definitely play the fuck out of like Yoshi Safari and like all,
those guys
the
who-
games. The Super Nintendo game. That's the thing. Super Nintendo games are great.
Like the
They're
guy,
really good.
Like the guy who beat like Dark Souls using the bongos from
the Donkey Kong bongos. Fuck yeah, you did. It's the fucking jam.
Anyway, I don't remember if there's anything else I really wanted to talk about. I know
have
you
the,
have you have something. You have the ICB2.
I have the numbers, the gaming numbers. We've done it every year. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's good. That'll lead us out of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've done this every year. So like, I don't want to break tradition.
We didn't suck GW's dick this episode.
Yeah, we
so-
did. We were defending them
Well,
against that guy who's suing them.
Yeah, but I mean that's different. I mean, like I would defend most people against this stupid lawsuit.
All right, so the game market continues to grow at a ridiculous rate. So I'm looking forward to this bursting. I don't know, at some point next year, and then I'll be out of a job, and then I'll be homeless. So to give you an idea of the kind of size we're talking here is collectible games, so Magic, etc., were 450 million in 2013. In 2016, there's 750 million.
Woo!
So almost fucking doubled. So that's ridiculously huge.
Number one game, of course, is Magic again.
Well, let's go over that and see. Why don't we? All right. This is like the in-depth coverage of like, all these things. Where's my fucking page?
I actually look forward to Gen Con. I'm going to try out. Gen Con's coming up next after next podcast. So I'll give my review of Gen Con.
I'll get it at Gen Con.
But one of the things I want to really review is I want to review the Godfather game because it's got heat behind it. It's supposedly good.
I mean, we'll see.
I don't know those. We talked about on the thing. I was like, they sometimes look really dumb, but they're perfect for the flavor of what you're looking for from that game. So,
Yeah, I mean, like it. I don't think it looks dumb. I think it looks okay. It's just like
Spartacus.
yeah, it's like it'll probably be fine. I don't know. I am actually getting like I don't even play that many games, and I'm getting burnt out on the amount of games that are coming out. And it's not even bad games. Like there's people like they're dumb. Like I would say at this point, things that would normally take the slot of shovelware are actually decent games, but they become shovelware
Because there's so many games.
yeah, it's just too many. There's just way too fucking many.
Well, eventually, as you said, the bubble will burst, and then no games will come out, and you'll be able to go back and play these games, and you'll be like, this game's amazing! Joe, you ever played Spartacus? Blood in the Sands? The game's amazing! Like, yes, I have.
Exactly. That'll cover it up.
Yeah.
The fuck is this list? Can't fucking find it. First Strike, Hasbro comic book event.
What?
It's a Hasbro comic book event. It's got it's a bi-weekly 6-issue series that has the crossover between G.I. Joe, Transformers, ROM, Micronauts,
The Space Knight?
and Mask.
Use your illusion.
No.
The power of illusion.
No, Mask is the Secret Rangers working overtime, fighting crime. They're the ones with the transform.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was called Mask, the power of illusion.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
that was illusion. Or no, Visionaries is harness the power of light.
Yeah.
Visionaries, they harness the power of light.
The worst. Like someone came
fucking
up with
terrible.
that jingle, just like we gotta go. We gotta get food.
All right. So here we go. Here's the top games. We'll go with overall because I don't want to. They do a split between the hobby channel and the mass channel. The hobby channel is always Magic #1, and the mass channel is always Pokemon #1. Straight up, that's shocker. It's the same. So overall on collectible games, which make up 75% of the board game or of the tabletop gaming market. So again, like I've said, no matter what your favorite game is, if it's not a collectible card game, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Number 1, Magic the Gathering. Number 2, Pokemon TCG. Number 3, Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Number 4, Star Wars Destiny, the dice game, which has already cooled it off to a, I'd say, glacier level for most people.
Glacial.
It's been killed by the lack of availability for product for most people. And number 5, Marvel and DC Hero Clicks. Those are your collectible games.
Clicks.
Top 10.
I found, by the way, on that one that lot that I bought, I sold all of those clicks. I ended up selling I ended up the Mage Knight ones. 200 Mage Knights I made $100 off of. So
Nice.
Not bad.
And it's a good deal for that guy because $2 a figure.
No, 50 cents a figure. There's 200 figures for $100.
I swapped those numbers around in my head.
Oh no! If it was $2 a figure, that'd be great. But
Very good. So,
but by the way, I just had like a giant box, and I just dumped all the figures into it and shipped it that way.
Fuck yeah.
So the guy's gonna open it up and just like this huge box.
that dude's going to be excited as shit.
He would be.
All right. Top 10 hobby channel board games. Number 1, Scythe. Number 2.
Still hot.
Yeah, even though you can't find it anywhere. Number 2, Catton. Number 3, Clank. 4.
Clank, really?
Yeah, Clank. Super popular game. People love Clank.
Really?
It's a really good game. If you haven't played it, you
I
should.
have not played
It's
that.
very good.
I don't get to play games.
4, Jim Henson's Labyrinth.
Really? Mm-hmm. That has to just be fanboys.
It's sold out everywhere. I don't know. I can't tell you if the game's good or not.
Alicio did the... I think Alicio did it.
I have no idea. It's made by River Horse.
Yeah, that's Alicio.
So, Pandemic, Z-Man Games, Mansions of Madness, number 6. Number 7, Terraforming Mars. Number 8, Ticket to Ride. Number 9, Carcassonne. Number 10, Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Not a lot of surprises.
That goes more to my point. There are not many surprises on this list.
Yeah.
Because new games aren't what's driving the market. It's more people buying old games.
Yeah. River Horse is Alicio's company, and that I'm just surprised on that Labyrinth game. It just like
It's number 4.
I don't know. It just like a blipped on my radar.
Yeah. Top 5 non-collectible.
We're talking about the
miniatures
game. What game?
games.
The game with power.
Which power? The power to sell to fanboys.
Yeah.
Which boys? Fanboys.
Smelly fanboys.
Top 5 non-collectible miniatures games. Number 1, X-Wing. Number 2, Warhammer 40,000.
Ooh.
Number 3, Dungeons and Dragons Nolzur's Marvelous Minis.
Those
are the pre-primed.
Those are fucking fantastic
Very
figures.
nice.
I can tell you I bought a ton of them because my daughter is getting into painting, and I'm not going to give her any of my expensive ass minis. So when I go to the local store, they cost $2. You get 2 figures. It costs $2.99. You get 2 figures in them. Why the fuck not?
They're also pre-primed, which is super nice.
Yeah, but I mean, most people aren't going to paint their figures.
But still, I mean, if you're not going to make figures, you just buy them.
They're fucking cheap,
Yeah.
and they're nice sculpts.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you want like
They use deep cuts technology.
if you if you want some knolls or something like that, you buy like 2 or 3 packs. It's gonna cost you $10. You get all the knolls you're gonna need.
It's true.
Right there. It's fucking
All
perfect.
the knolls you'll ever need for your adventure.
Yeah. You only need 9 max.
Number 4, Star Wars Armada. And number 5, War Machine.
Woo.
Hordes has fallen off the top 5 list.
Oof.
Top 10 hobby channel card/dice games. These are non-collectible.
Before we get to there, let me ask you this: how long before X-Wing is dethroned?
I think 2017 is going to be the year 40K takes it back.
You think it's going to take 40K is going to take it back?
Yeah, I think the launch has been from all of the retailer buzz I can get.
The launch is ridiculous.
Yeah, the launch has been very, very successful. So I think this is the year that it takes it back from X-Wing.
Still my favorite thing is the people getting so butthurt that the Primaris figures are just resculpts
They're
of
cool.
but they're basically like oh, you have scouts, do you? Well, the Primaris have these guys.
They're just true scale Space Marines.
That's all it is.
They're a true scale Space Marine army that they released so you can have your own true scale Space Marine army or mix it with your old Space Marines. It was the ideal solution to get people what they want and not have people like, oh, they just want me to rebuy the same models. It's like, no, now they have different rules.
My favorite are the memes with the assault troops because they have their legs splayed out because they look like they're like jumping. They have them on swings being pushed by Marines.
That's awesome.
Marines, cool guy. Anyway, go on.
So, top 10 hobby channel card/dice games. These are non-collectible boxed games. Arkham Horror LCG, number 1.
Nice.
Number 2 is Codenames. Number 3, Smash Up. Number 4, Sushi Go. Number 5, Marvel Legendary. Number 6, Rick and Morty from Cryptozoic.
Hey, Steve.
I assume
I can't do a Rick impression.
I don't know if that's Rick and Morty, whichever specific one. It's probably... it's not Anatomy Park, so it's probably just Total Recall. Patchwork from Mayfair is number 7. Munchkin is number 8. The perennial, always going to be on the top 10. Never number 1, but will never go away from the top 10. Munchkin. Number 9.
Munchkin, always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Munchkin, then we got number 9, Boss Monster. Number 10, Splendor from Asmodee.
I could tell a lot of those games are on that list because every fucking place sells them. You can see, I see Boss Monster at literally almost every store I go to.
Boss Monster is a really fun game. Boss Monster has everything you need to have a very successful game. It's a dirt cheap MSRP, great attractive art style, hits the nostalgia thing. The game is fast and easy to play, easy to learn, and it's decently fun. It's got everything you need to make a perennial game, just like Munchkin.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
as much as I shit on Munchkin, it has
right.
all of the
But
things.
But as opposed to Munchkin, I see Boss Monster every Target, every...
Well, it's newer.
Yeah. You go to any bookstore, Boss Monster is right there at the counter.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Anyway.
Role-playing games.
This is what I'm interested in.
I mean, come on. You know what's number 1.
Well, I know what's number 1, but I'm interested in what's the list.
Dungeons and Dagrons is number 1.
Oh, the Dagrons.
Number 2, Pathfinder.
Okay.
Number 3, the Star Wars line from Fantasy Flight.
Okay.
Number 4, Adventures in Middle-earth.
Oh.
That's the 5th edition compatible Lord of the Rings role-playing game, which I have, and it's fucking phenomenal. And if you enjoy role-playing games and or the Lord of the Rings, you should buy it.
Interesting.
And then Shadowrun, number 5.
Okay. So they don't go all the way to 10 with those?
They don't. The smaller, the sales... The lists that I have 5, so non-collectible miniatures games and the role-playing games, the things below 5 are so negligible.
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, I wanted to
bother
see
do
if
the
Tales
list.
from Equestria had made it on there, which was also another River
This
Horse
is 2016.
Yeah, it came out.
That game came out this year. I'm pretty sure.
It did. It
I
did come out
believe-
last
I-
year.
At least it might have been a Kickstarter in 2016, but I believe its mass distribution is 2017.
So Tales from Middle Earth came out last year.
Adventures in Middle Earth.
Yeah, Adventures in Middle Earth.
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. I thought that hadn't been released yet.
Yeah, this is fall 2016 numbers.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tales from Equestria didn't come out, I think, till like May, June-ish.
Yeah.
It was after Adepticon.
So there you go.
It was after I broke my back.
Yes, very good. Yeah, so that was a little those were seasonal. All of the games were spring except for role playing games, which was fall.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
That's not the whole year.
Yeah.
The whole year they don't have for some reason. They usually do, but they didn't have the whole year in this one for some reason. But
Yeah. So, yeah, our predictions, 40K will probably overtake X-Wing,
Yeah.
which will probably be the biggest upset. I think Armada's on its way out, too.
Armada's meh.
Armada's not selling anymore.
And just as a random thought, the number 1 graphic novel franchise is still Walking Dead.
Well, of course.
And the number 1 superhero franchise is still Batman.
Really?
Yeah, it's the thing that's never not been Batman, still Batman. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I like how The Walking Dead, we've talked about the fan base for The Walking Dead. It's all the fan base. It's all it is at this point.
Oh, he's just got a lot of fans.
I think
guess.
even Robert Kirkman at this point, he's just like, fuck these people.
Well, it was only supposed to be 100 issues. Like, the whole story was supposed to be 100 issues. It was supposed to be completed at 100. Obviously, that's never going to happen, and we're never going to get the original story that it was supposed to be because he's had to stretch it out infinite.
Because he's got the moolah. It's like, cha-ching!
But that's the thing. He could still have told his fucking story. That's the thing. I feel that is creatively bankrupt because he could have still told the exact story he wanted to tell in 100 issues and just kept it going with new content at issue 101. There's nothing that would have prevented him from doing that.
No.
Other than his moral and creative bankruptcy.
And sleeping on a gigantic pile of
but
money.
He could have still... That's not the... That argument doesn't work because he still could have the gigantic piles of money by continuing the story on episode 101. Because it's going to be like, what do you think I am? I'm the creator of The Walking Dead. You're going to like this shit too. I'm going to shovel it out on you.
I would love to agree with you, Steve, but it's probably like issue 100, Rick dies. And then they were probably... And so he's like, you can't kill Rick. And like,
you just kill Rick and you go to episode 101 and make it about Carl or fucking make it about dildo swaggins. Like,
whoa. I haven't been reading for a while there, but is there a character named Dildo Swaggins, and how come I haven't been made aware of this?
Well, there was a character in Cross named Horsecock, but no Dildo Swaggins as far as I know.
There was a... God, I wish I could bring it up. I was looking at some really like weird Kickstarters today in prepping for the podcast. I was prepping. Oh, Barbarossa's on sale, by the way.
Interesting random note you have here. If you want the top 10 superhero franchises, number 1 is Batman. Number 2 is Star Wars, which I think is kind of dubious referring to it as a superhero franchise, but okay, sure, we'll give it to you. 3 is Wolverine. 4 is the X-Men. 5 is Deadpool. 6 is Spider-Man. 7 is Superman. 8 is the Avengers. 9 is the Justice League, and 10 is the Flash.
The Flash?
Yeah, which I like because I love the Flash.
Who doesn't love the Flash?
I don't know, weirdos. Flash is great.
Well, it all depends. It really Flash. The thing is with the Flash, as opposed to almost every other comic book out there,
he's got a great aesthetic, and his arch nemesis is a giant talking gorilla. That's fucking gold. you can't argue that.
It's one of his arch nemesis.
I mean, the only other one you could think of that's more of an arch nemesis than Grodd would be like Professor Zoom. Oh. But he's Reverse Flash. Like he's he's like Bizarro.
Zoom and Reverse Flash are two different characters.
Sometimes yes.
Just going through a quick rundown on it. Hidden Dreams Miniatures. They're doing alternate fantasy for 9th Age stuff. They got some pretty nice stuff. They have a Kickstarter going on right now. Totally,
you're my hidden dream.
Yeah, but it's totally not worth the money. But the fun thing is go to that Kickstarter and read the broken English that they obviously translated this page into.
Nice.
It's like, you buy model, I give you this.
You buy model, I give you plastic glue.
I give you plastic glue. It comes with brush now.
Comes with borscht.
Reaper Bones, still with only 7 days in, has already made 1.1 mil. Reaper Bones 4.
Those bones, they just keep printing money.
Yeah. There's a guy named John McManus who's doing a halfling skeleton army.
That's the dumbest and coolest thing I've ever heard.
It's like, really, it's not actually a bad, like, for your price Kickstarter.
It's the dumbest and coolest thing I've ever heard.
He's making it, at least in terms of Kings of War. So if you like Kings of War and you want a very unique, interesting army, this is the way to go. The models are not great, but it's still like halfling fit. It's skeleton. Okay, and he'll do it like.
And don't forget, you can always just put them with the regular skeletons and say that they're children.
That's true. Oh, that's dark.
Yeah,
that's real dark.
That's immediately what I thought of.
That's pretty dark. But with what I liked about this guy, and the reason why I brought it up is halflings, which you find detestable, but
no, what are you talking about? I love halflings.
It's skeleton.
But only hobbits.
Yeah, only hobbits.
If they're not hobbits, then they're garbage.
But what I like about what this guy did with his Kickstarter is he arranged the pledges to either be for Kings of War or
9th Age,
Dragon Rampart.
Yeah, I've never heard of Dragon Rampart.
Dragon Rampart. It's a smaller skirmish scale fantasy game that a lot of grognards like. It's done by Osprey.
Okay.
Not a terrible rule set.
All you need to do is say it was by Osprey, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
Not a terrible rule set, but it's not fantastic. But I like that he separated his bids into that because he obviously is a grognard himself and knows that like some people might like Robin.
He's making a halfling skeleton army. He smells weird. I'm confident in saying
I don't
that.
care. I think the guy's. Let's give him a game classy salute for doing something that no one else
Absolutely.
would do.
I absolutely will salute him. He still smells funny.
Stonehaven is doing another Kickstarter. They got I think about 2 weeks left. Stonehaven's the guys who did the dwarves, the elves, and
they do those like groups of
gnomes.
adventurers. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool. Very expensive. Like this is fucking expensive.
I got the dwarf
Kickstarter.
adventurer set. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get? Do you still have it?
I painted it and sold it.
Oh, I was gonna say I would get some of those models off.
They're
you.
fucking awesome models.
But not for the price. Not for the price.
I very much enjoyed the price that I received for my painted copies.
Well, there you go. I'm not. Song of Ice and Fire we already talked about. Dungeons of Doom 3, the Dragon Slayers. So there's this guy like Darcy Perry. His name is Darcy Perry, he's obviously very British.
Mr. Darcy.
So, Mr. Darcy. No, he's New Zealand. He's a Kiwi.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's not far off.
Yeah.
I mean, New Zealand is like Australia. England's Australia. So
It's less lethal Australia.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that's basically what it is.
So is
Speaking of lethal Australia, do you hear about that kid?
Yeah, with
the fucking flesh-eating lice. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah, that's
fucking Australia,
That's
man.
why I never go in the ocean. Period.
Australia, man. That's dangerous.
Yeah. So there was this guy, and he obviously these characters are just his players from whatever D&D game he's running, and he just like has someone sculpt them and cast them up so that they can play with them, and then he sells the sculpts, which I think is an awesome idea. I mean, I'm not always so great on it, but he does have a character who's a halfling were-rat, and his name is Horse Puncher Jones. So there you go.
That's awesome.
The guy's name is Horse Puncher Jones.
That's so fucking dumb. I love it.
And also, if you really like the really grognardy fantasy stuff, Brugelberg by Lead Adventure. Lead Adventure is literally the guys who do Old Hammer shit.
Oh, nice.
Like, they have some really nice Kickstarters and some really nice like old school style figures. They released Brugelberg, which is like Citizens for Towns.
Brugelberg.
they're all like really gross, like foppish characters. So like you'll have like the nobleman with like the big gut hanging out, and, like the buck teeth and like the big warts and everything like that, and the lady who's got like a wig falling off, and like it's just like they're wonderfully
Those fucking gross peasants.
Yes, and I give them my full thumbs up on that. So that's about it. Anything else that we missed? My Little Pony Tales from Equestria. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, that's the book. I thought because you were saying it, and I thought I remembered seeing it when I was flipping through this book, and I did.
My daughter wants it real bad.
2-page spread on ICV2. There's special dice sets. There's a unicorn dice set, an Earth Pony dice set, and a Pegasus dice set.
Yeah, my daughter wants it real bad.
There's also tokens of friendship.
She wants me to run her through a game.
Well, there's a starter set, just like a D&D one. It comes with the book and
It does, yeah, I know.
little standees.
I bought my niece a copy. She's older than my daughter,
As awful as it is,
and they live in Minnesota, so I sent it to her.
as awful as it is, it actually looks like the content's really good, like old school role playing wise. Like the adventure, they have an adventure called The Curse of the Statuette, which is literally like an old ass D&D module. It's got a box. It comes with a DM screen, dice, reference cards, book, all that shit. The starter set, same deal. Like
It's Alessio. He wrote all the rules.
yeah. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Why you wouldn't I wouldn't have it any other way.
I would not play it because it says it is a complete role-playing game system for all who believe that friendship is magic. I do not believe that friendship is magic.
No.
So, no My Little Pony role-playing for me.
No. I wouldn't expect it to be for you. I may have to GM it someday, and I'll give you a review.
However, if the rules are compatible enough, I do have some Lamentations of the Flame Princess adventures, which you could run your daughter through with My Little Pony characters.
Well, you could run it through. Everything is compatible if you work hard enough, Steve.
Yes. Now we're talking. I've got Blood in the Chocolate, which is the Willy Wonka,
yeah.
thing. That's really good.
I was looking at that. I was like, oh, that sounds fantastic.
It's great. It's fucking great.
I want to play that. I don't want to run that. I want to play
it's
that.
It's fucking great. All of the modules are great, and I've got a Red and Pleasant Land, which is the fucking fucked up Alice in Wonderland, which is cool.
Yeah.
And something that they do in Lamentations books, which I think is amazing, and by completely different authors. So this is just they're like own like, oh, yeah. I have a couple modules written by one guy, and he has items that transport you to another module. And I looked at the other module. He didn't write the other module. There's another author who did that other module. So it's just like, yep, transports you to this one.
Am I gonna have to buy you a dirty sweatshirt this year at Gen Con like I did do last year?
I hope there's one, but I haven't seen an announcement that there's one.
Did you sell that?
No, I still have it.
You still have that?
Yeah.
It said something very dirty on it. So
It's a fantastic sweatshirt.
I've been told I'm not supposed to say what it says.
I just don't know where I'm gonna wear it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's
But it's a great sweatshirt.
I love.
I'd wear it if I went to Gen Con.
Well, I bought the main rule set for Lamentations there, and I was like, oh, this looks neat. And I was there, and I was like talking with the guy, and he was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, you guys are very rude. I would think that you guys would be much more pleasant.
Oh no, dude! Fucking Raggy is antisocial as shit. If it was him,
I don't think it was him.
okay, yeah, that dude's super antisocial.
I mean, but even still, like you're
I didn't think he would be there. That's why.
selling the shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wants to hockey books from his house. I don't think he wants to actually go anywhere and see anyone.
Oh, it's Gen Con.
I would be surprised if he was there. Well, he also lives in fucking Finland or something.
Well, yeah, I think it was probably whatever the U.S. distributor.
He's probably just some goon.
Some goon. Hired goons.
Some goons. You don't scare me. You or your goons.
Yeah, if you guys are going to Gen Con, by the way, just hit me up on the Facebook. Let me know if you want to stop by, say hi, or anything like that. If you're running a booth or anything like that. I know a couple people are running booths, so I'll stop by and say hi. Yeah, I'll probably be there Friday through Sunday. I'm going an extra day. So go to planetarbitrary.com for your Planet Arbitrary needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at
I'm Command Throw.
Like our Facebook page, /Game Classy Podcast. Best way you can get a hold of us. And we will often post funny things that we find humorous from the internets. Usually it's when I'm browsing Reddit and I go, ha, the fans of the podcast will like this. The listeners will like this. And that's where I get everything from. So you can the best way you can help out the podcast, like, comment, subscribe on iTunes. You could also listen to us on the YouTube. All right, guys. So confession time. The reason why the last couple episodes haven't been posted for Game Classy is I've been posting them to the wrong page.
That's awesome.
So I'll try and get the older ones on there. If you listen to it through YouTube, if anyone doesn't say anything otherwise, I'm probably not going to go back and post them, but whatever.
Well, they probably are just like, man, they haven't been an episode for a long time. If we have any YouTube exclusive listeners,
yeah.
they're probably like, where are the last two episodes?
Well, it was like last 4. It was like ridiculous amount. Because I kind of was like, they were like, you've exceeded the amount of bandwidth you could put for an unverified account. I'm like, I have a verified account. What's going on? I was like, oh shit, this is because stupid me, I updated my computer with the new version of Windows, and it like completely destroyed all my cookies because Windows is fucking terrible.
Dank.
Yeah, we should learn how to write Linux. I'll install it.
This is a Unix system. I can use this.
I know this. It's a Unix system.
Just fucking flying around in virtual reality like the fucking Lawnmower Man. Fucking movie.
I see so too. And you can also listen to our sister podcast. We have Play On Podcast, which is all about Pat and Steve arguing about RPGs. Pretty much what it's devolved into.
It's mostly just him being wrong about RPGs.
He really is. I'm not going to lie, Steve. We'll disagree on a lot of things. We agree on The Hobbit is an amazing movie and that RPGs are a superior form of gaming.
It's true.
But we'll disagree that you like fighting games and I don't like fighting games. Yeah.
They're not for everyone.
No. You also have Weebtown, which has been coming out sporadically.
We're going to record an episode tomorrow.
You're going to talk about Japanese things.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Boku no Hero Academia.
I don't know those words.
Hi.
Hi. And we'll also have Comic Book Logic, which will be coming back soon. So until next cast, Steve, after Gen Con?
I don't know. I don't really have anything clever or fun to say, but the Dragonfire deck building game does actually look pretty sweet.
Would you say it's fire?
I would say that it's the Dungeons & Dragons deck building game.
Game Classy.